Oh, sorry, Dante. Sorry, buddy. How silly do we make it, you know? I mean, I'm thinking about, let's enter this all silly to be silly. But this is going to be a really real video. All right, yeah. Question my credibility all you want. That's the point. Check this out, though, before you think I have a claim. I don't. I'm going to explain this quite thoroughly. What's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Today is the 14th of March, 2026. This is a video on our main side. The main side of In The Image Clothing Company, one of our fourths where we allow the body to work. That's our slogan, allowing the body to work, okay? We're a clothing company because anything that's physically placed onto the body is clothing the body of the human being. The way that God clothes the fields with grass, we place anything onto our bodies, even glasses or jewelry. It doesn't have to be traditional clothing items like tops or pants or shoes, socks, undergarments, hats, gloves. Anything, though, placed onto the body is just literal wording, clothing the body with something. And so our clothing has to fit. I'm going to get into this video, and I just want to make it clear what the title is. And again, don't believe me, okay, is what I'm going to say first. As I say, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, don't believe me. I'm doing this for my entire lifetime, and we're just at the start of this, a little over 17 months, give or take, into the founding of In The Image Clothing Company. We say things here that sound so crazy and different, but it's truth. If it's aligning with God, we don't get to decide. We're designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. There's a universal human design. As I say, every body has one, and every one has a body. Anyway, don't believe In The Image Clothing Company's team members, even our poodles, as I say, which there's context on what I mean by that. What I really mean is, don't believe us with anything we say, any of our information, because truth is truth. Things are just what they are. We don't have to believe anything for it to be what it is. A lot of times we can see something that actually happens and say, man, I can't believe it. Well, then don't. But it happened. Truth is truth. The truth is, there's only one way the human body could ever work. So here we go. This video's title is, You Didn't Train to It. I don't have a claim, and I'll explain this thoroughly in this video. We do so much under what I call the gift of video, under In The Image Clothing Company and all four sides, and we always will, always have. Video is huge with its impact, with how you can just deliver information. You can discuss things, but you can also show visuals as you do it, and it's just another date-marked documentation, as I say, on any four sides of In The Image Clothing Company that it is. In this case, we're discussing how you cannot train the human being to get it to do anything. And it's not a claim. That's what I mean. Think I have a claim all you want? That's fine. I'll explain it as I do with the things that I do so thoroughly there's no possible dispute to it. I don't have an opinion on it that could possibly matter. I don't get to decide anything about the human body, and no human being does, because we didn't design our bodies. We're designed by God. God, also being called the truth, is the same yesterday, today, and forever. There's only one way this thing works, because it just grew itself, the human being. And I'm going to get into it thoroughly, very thoroughly. I'm going to do this very thoroughly. Date mark, the 14th of March, 2026. You didn't train to it. This video's title. The thing is, let's get some context on the body. Undisputed, no opinion to have. It's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything. The body's just a mechanical machine. It's placed onto this rock in space that is our Earth, and there's only one way it works. Bones are only the shape that they are. They're only the length that they are. They're connected directly to each other through ligaments, and there's a thin layer of cartilage between the bones, which is just cushioning so the bones don't wear each other out. We've got musculature connecting to the bones of the body, and the bones are just already there, by the way, first off, before we talk about the musculature at all. The skeletal system is one whole thing, all connected, all the bones of the body through ligaments. It's just all there, and then the musculature of our body is kind of just pieced onto the skeletal system in the areas it would need to be to allow the skeletal system to be moved by the musculature, to be supported by the musculature. So, muscles, they connect to bones through tendons at least two endpoints called insertions, Really, they're called tendons, where they insert two bones. Muscles only pull. We've got a video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company we reference often. It's just a phrase to focus on, though, as we title our videos very intentionally, so we can spiderweb everything we do together, and you can get to what we do to learn the information we're delivering that you don't have to believe, but truth is truth, and we don't get to decide it or change it as human beings. But yeah, we reference videos often and other things we do, so you can just see what's going on here under In The Image Clothing Company. The video's title that I'm referencing here is The Human Body Only Pulls. The human body only pulls. We've got opposing muscles. So we pull muscles to close a hinge joint, like the elbow, but then on the opposite side of those muscles, we pull muscles to extend the hinge joint. The human body can't actually push. It's impossible for it to. We just have a muscle pulling to close or a muscle pulling to open, a hinge. A muscle pulling to internally rotate or a muscle pulling to externally rotate. A muscle pulling to come up, opposing Earth's gravity's pull, or a muscle pulling down with Earth's gravity's pull. There's always a neutral to the human being. In the wrist, there's a neutral. Straight out the outside of the forearm, down and out the end of the pinky finger. The wrist can go down or it can go up. In the elbow, well, keeping elbows at the natural waist, a video here under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. The elbow, 3 bones, just the radius and ulna in the forearm, meeting the upper arm bone called the humerus, meets here at the natural waist. Above the hip bones, but below those lowest ribs, there's no bones there at our sides until we get into the center line at our spine, and that's where we bend side to side, is at the spine, which is a lot of little vertebrae or bones stacking to create this 3-part spine. So the elbow at the natural waist is its neutral height, but it's also the shoulder's neutral height. They're connected through this immovable by itself bone of the upper arm bone called the humerus. If the elbow comes up, the shoulder comes up. If the elbow goes down, the shoulder goes down. But there's a neutral, which is impossible to train to because the neutral is the resting state. Standing vertically on Earth's vertical gravity pull that comes down and meshes with its horizontal surface with this perpendicular angle or this right 90-degree angle, we're either standing neutrally, which is relaxed, just meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull, or we're leaning left from the neutral, or we're leaning right from the neutral. We're either leaning forward from the neutral, or we're leaning back from the neutral. We've got things like different length fingers, which are different lengths than our thumb. We've got different length 5 toes, as long as you do. And maybe your body's different. You might have something like this, a deformity, an amputation, a birth defect, a major surgery. I mention these things to just give some context on there's things that set our bodies apart, but you can only be set apart from something, and there's a universal human design. So, baseline human being, there's only one way it could possibly function. There's no opinion. Yeah, we roll evenly off the ends of our 5 different length toes. There's a video here under In The Image Clothing Company's main side titled Different Length Toes. We just rotate with our hands up to the elbow in these forearms, either internal rotation or external rotation from the neutral, but there's a neutral. And then there's just 2 bones in the forearm, the radius and ulna, just rotating over each other, and they only have the range of motion they do. The different length fingers, meshing with the different length opposable thumbs, can only do what they do in the position they can because of the shape of the bones. It's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything. I don't have a claim on it. I don't have an opinion on it that could matter to anyone. It couldn't matter to myself either. The body only does what it does, though. And we just discussed physics and mechanics. The body has mathematical, measurable motion to it. We have even opposing mathematically measurable bends back and forth from the feet up to the tip of the head when we're standing with our arms down at our sides just to stay vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull. There's no opinion to this. It would have to be evenly back and forth to just stay straight up when Earth's gravity's pull is just straight vertical up and down. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend the opposite way, which is forward, The hips bend the opposite way, which is backward. The low back bends the opposite way, which is forward. The mid back bends the opposite way, which is backward. And then the upper back, it's really just the neck, the cervical spine. It bends the opposite way and it goes forward. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, up the entire body from the feet at the base, just to stay vertical. You'd have to evenly go back and forth, or otherwise you'd go back and back and back and fall backward, or you'd go forth and forth and forth and fall forward. God designed the body to work. It only does what it does. There's no possible opinion to it. You cannot train the human body to get it to do anything besides what it does. And so this video's title, You Didn't Train to It. I'm going to discuss some things where sometimes people think they're training their bodies and you're not. You're forcing your body to try to get it to do something that it doesn't do. And then once you stop forcing your body to try to excessively get it to do something, it goes back to the human body's only normal. There's just a normal to the human being. There's a normal heart rate, the amount of times the heart beats per minute. There's a normal respiratory rate, the amount of times the lungs breathe per minute. There's a normal body temperature, and it's always just about the exact same. Otherwise, it could be deadly. There's a normal amount of muscle mass the body has, the amount of muscle that we actually have to be able to move our bodies with. There's a normal amount of fat content the body has. The body uses fat in the ways that it does as stored energy reserves. You know, the body can actually essentially eat fat that's within it. And things in the body like this, they just play the roles they do. There's only one way they work. And you can't get them to do anything else, otherwise the body's damaged. It's in an imbalance. The human body only works activated as a whole. Everything in the body's there. It's got its own individual role that it plays, and so nothing can compensate for something else. Nothing in the body can make up for something else's role if something's not working properly, because it's got a different function, and they can't do each other's functioning. Anything in the body only works all together, or it really, really struggles to work. And so, you know, we've got maybe an amputation situation where somebody's missing an arm. Well, we still have Earth's vertical gravity pull, and we need to do what we can with things like prosthetic limbs to just balance out our body's weight on Earth's gravity. The body has a center line. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw are the things that I mentioned. Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, and I'll be doing this for my entire lifetime. I don't have an opinion on this that could possibly matter. These things need to stay in the center of the body. The jaw stabilizes the entire body, with musculature coming up to the crown of the head from the jaw, up into the cheekbones, down into the upper ribs, out to the edges of the shoulder. We've got a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company titled "The Jaw is the Shoulder," and we are a clothing company, and there's a lot of reason as to why. Our slogan is allowing the body to work. It's about the human body. We'd never need to even discuss clothing as In The Image Clothing Company if we didn't have something physically placed on our bodies. This is the thing. Clothing is the only thing physically placed on us, and it has to stay centered because there's a center line to the human being, fit correct, and we don't have an opinion on where that could be, but we have bones, which are joints of the body parts that need to mesh with the joints of the material of our clothing. And we have what we could call seams of clothing meshing with what we could call seams of our body parts. There's only one way the human body could ever work in all aspects, from the tip of the toes up to the tip of the head, out to the tips of the fingers. There's just a neutral, there's just a normal, and there's just a natural. Synonyms, as we discuss under In The Image Clothing Company. The body has a neutral position to all of its motion. That's how it would normally just be, and that's the only way it could naturally just work. There's no opinion to natural. The goal is natural on all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company, because matter cannot be created or destroyed. And everything that we get the opportunity to use to make unnatural things from, we're already here as natural things because we're just human beings that were placed onto this earth last before, God made this planet and everything's here. And then we get here and we use the things God made. We don't get to make things. There's no creating of things we can actually do as human beings. We just take things God made and we alter them into unnatural, artificial, synthetic, These things always decompose though, back to natural. So our clothing needs to be made, holy cow, talk about the surrounding sounds. Blunt, bold, raw, and real in the Image Clothing Company. We just do it how we do it. It's just about documenting the information, and you can get it. I know you can hear what I'm saying. You can read my lips. You can turn on subtitles. We've got technology in 2026. The 14th of March, today's date. All right. Check this out. 100% natural materials is what our clothing needs to be made out of. There's no opinion to it. Our bodies are only what we eat. If you eat anything man-made, unnatural, your body can't use it. Your body has to process things through it, and it can't gain any energy or nutrients or benefit from it. And so it's using energy to process unnatural things through your body, but then your body doesn't get replenished with energy because there's nothing actually in unnatural things your body can utilize. We're only what we eat. You go from being a baby to being a full-grown adult by just eating food, and the food literally becomes your body. That's how it happens. We're just earth, as it says in the Holy Bible. We're pulled from the clay, and once we die, we just return to the earth again. Our bodies decompose back into the planet Earth. You eat plants, they're growing from the earth. Or you eat an animal that ate plants, and it all came from the earth. It's all the same thing. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. You don't have to be religious in the slightest. Truth is truth. It's not my choice. It's no one's choice as a human being. We're designed by God. The body beats its heart by itself, it blinks by itself, it breathes by itself, it heals itself when it gets cut. The body just does its own thing. It's God orchestrating everything that's happening. You couldn't possibly take credit for it. So let's get to this topic. I'm discussing the human being and how it works. There's no opinion to this. It is impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything. I don't have a claim. I'll explain it thoroughly. There's no opinion that could matter about it. We've got muscles opposing each other. Like I was saying, we've got muscles that pull to close a hinge like the elbow, or muscles that pull on the opposite side to extend a hinge like the elbow. Muscles that pull to bend the knee, or muscles that pull to extend the knee. And what you'll hear is people saying that they maybe once trained to something like the full splits, okay? People might say they trained to running a certain distance in a very short amount of time compared to how they could do it before they trained to do it faster. You'll hear people say they trained to get really excessively large muscles, much musculature size, hypertrophy. I'm gonna discuss it. The point is, you'll hear people say they trained something at one point, but their body doesn't currently do it. So what does it mean then to train something? If you train your dog to do something, you've trained your dog to do it. And maybe you go quite some time without giving your dog the command to do what you train them to do, they'll still be able to do it after some time. If you train your body to learn how to ride a bike, like a bicycle, and balance on a bike, even if you don't ride a bike for a long time, when you go to ride a bike again, your body can do it because you actually trained it. You actually taught it. If we're using the word train in a way that's synonymous with the word teach, you can teach your body to do things. We've got muscle memory, where the body will do something that it hasn't done before, and it will learn the movement, it'll learn the motion, it'll learn the patterning, it'll learn how it needs to function all together to have this thing happen, and it'll retain that knowledge. But when we're using the word train in the sense of something that just always goes away back to the human body's only normal, there's only a normal to the human being, then we're not training our bodies, we're just forcing them to do something for a while, and then we stop forcing them to do that thing for a while, and then they can't do it anymore. If you train, quote unquote, train your body, if that's what you think you're doing when you gain all this excessive muscle mass by straining your body and making it excessively hard for your body to lift weight again and again and again, this repetitious lifting of weight, you can gain muscle mass, muscle size. You can gain hypertrophy, which is what they call it, when the muscle fibers are actually having little micro tears happen. They're tearing on a microscopic, if you will, level. We're tearing our muscles. We're damaging, truly, our muscles. And then they heal themselves. And as they do, they get larger. That's what hypertrophy is. That's what musculature's size, when we gain it through working out our muscles, that's what's happening. And once you stop doing this excessive effort in an excessively unnatural way, and bodybuilders will tell you the same thing. People who do spend parts of their life trying to get their muscles basically as large as they could, bodybuilders, they'll tell you the same thing. They want to strain their bodies basically as much as they can. They want the motion they're doing to be the most inconvenient for their muscles, for them to be worked the hardest so they grow. That's how that happens. And the thing is, you're not training anything. You're forcing your body to exert itself excessively hard. And once you stop doing that, the muscle goes away. Somebody might have been one of the largest human beings, muscle size wise, the biggest bodybuilder at one point. And then once they stop working out to get their body to be that excessively muscular, the muscle goes away, back to the human body's only normal. There's no opinion to it. It happens. It's happened generation after generation after generation after generation. It'll always be the exact same. The human being, there's only one way it works. And we can try to force it to have larger muscles, and we can word it as training our muscles. You're not training anything. It'll all go away. If you train your body truly, meaning teach your body how to ride a bike, that knowledge doesn't go away. The knowledge ingrained in your body's mechanical workings even doesn't go away. That's muscle memory. Well, even that, the wording, the memory, that's knowledge. Your body remembers what you taught it to do with something like riding a bike and knowing how to balance on a bike. When you try to gain excessive muscle mass, and maybe you're not only trying, but you actually do it, you might get your arms to be just about twice as big around as they were before you started to work them out. You're not training that level of muscle mass. It's going to go away if you stop trying to get it to be there. We're just trying to force our bodies in these cases to do something, and they don't actually do it. Our bodies have a normal, and they want to reside in that normal. They want to reside in that neutral. The normal or the neutral or the natural is the only way the bones track. The only way the muscles pull, because they pull directly in line from endpoint to endpoint where they're connected to bones. And if we try to force them to do something else, it doesn't matter. They're still only in normal. On any end, on either side, in any way, there's just a normal to the human being. You can't possibly train the human being. not in the ways that people think they're doing it. If you say, similar to how I was saying with, a bodybuilder at one point claimed they trained their muscles to be so large, well, why did they forget how to be so large? If you trained them to be that large, where'd your muscle go? You didn't train anything. You just forced your body to do something for a while, and then you stopped forcing it to do that, and it went back to normal. There's no opinion to this. If you say you trained at one point to a full split, like your legs, one leg goes all the way forward and one leg goes all the way back behind you, and you lay your legs out like that down onto the ground, your full range of motion forward and your full range of motion backward in a split position, and your crotch is on the ground. Let's say you claim you trained your body to the full splits at one point. No, you didn't. You might have forced your body to do that at one time, but it can't do it now. If you're saying it can't do it anymore, but it did at one point, you didn't train anything. It's just like the muscle mass. You force your body to gain excessively large muscles. Once you stop forcing your body to do something, it goes back to normal. You force your body to get into an excessively stretched out range of motion in a full split, and once you stop trying to force your body to do that, it goes back to its normal range of motion. The thing is, and here comes the wind, to have a neutral, to have a center, to have something, here comes the wind, as I said, to have something in the middle that we can stabilize from both sides, what we have is this opposing musculature pulling evenly on both sides to stay in the center. Like the wrist here, the muscles will pull the wrist down, or the muscles will pull the wrist up, and they stabilize in the center, pulling against each other. Just like standing vertically on Earth's vertical gravity pull. Muscles pull us left or muscles pull us right, and they stabilize in the center. Same with leaning forward or leaning back. Muscles pull us forward or muscles pull us back, and we stabilize in the center. So with the legs, they stabilize in the center. You can't train your body into a range of motion. That's impossible. The human body is just mechanics. It's a video here under In The Image Clothing Company's main side. Dante filmed it with me. Okay, my standard poodle here. Beautiful Dante. But it's just the case. The human body is rotations, it's hinges and levers, it's just measurable degrees of motion, it's mathematics, and we're just working with Earth's vertical gravity pull and its horizontal surface beneath it, with our bodies having a center line to them, the muscles only pulling with just opposing muscles to stabilize, as I'm saying here in the center. It's bones, only the shape that they are and length that they are. And this is all that the body is. It's just what it is, and it can never do anything else, actually. You can force it to try to for a while. You stop forcing it to try to do something, and it just does what it does. And you don't retain what you think you have trained your body to do. No, it goes away. Because if you think you trained to a full split position, well, if you trained your body to do it, did it just forget how to? No. What happened is it went back to normal. There's a normal. When we cross through the hips with the musculature, we have muscles pulling up on the front of the pelvis, working with muscles pulling down on the rear. We have muscles pulling down on the front of the pelvis, working with muscles pulling up on the rear. So we have posterior rotation of the pelvis or anterior rotation of the pelvis, and there's a neutral between the two. It's the same as the horizontal surface to our planet Earth. It's just like the feet. The feet can lift up, which is dorsiflexion, or they can point down, which is plantar flexion, and the neutral is the surface to the horizontal planet Earth. The arms of the human being hang down with Earth's gravity. And that's the neutral. And if we straighten our arms out, they just have their natural full range of motion because God designed the body to work. We lock the hand out from the shoulder at the elbow between the two, and they do the exact same thing as each other, rotation-wise, or just anywhere the hand goes, the shoulder goes. And this is the same with the foot. The foot to the hip, we lock them out from each other by straightening the knee between the two, and they'll just do the same thing as each other. It's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything. We just have bones. That's what the body is it's bones. The muscles are just there to move the bones. The bones are only what they are. So, you didn't train to it. This video's title under In The Image Clothing Company's main site on the 14th of March, 2026. Let's talk about running. Running is such a common thing for people to do in modern 2026. Yeah, if you think you claim to have trained your body to run a 6-minute mile, let's say, like a fast running mile distance, but you can't do it anymore, you didn't train your body to do it. You forced your body to really work harder and harder and harder and harder for a while until you did something as fast as you could do it at the time. But then what happened? You didn't train your body, you didn't teach your body something, you forced your body. And once you stopped forcing your body to have an excessively high level of capability, it just went back to normal. There's only a normal to the body. I mean, this is in every aspect of anything. There's only one way the human body could ever work. You know, if people try to reach down to touch their toes and try to train the flexibility of their hamstrings on the rear of their upper legs, for example, you're not training anything. We have even opposing musculature, or we don't. And the only way we can stand up on Earth's vertical gravity pole is if we have even opposing musculature, or we fall over. The body has opposing bends. Yeah, I don't mean to mock anyone, but truth is truth. You can't claim to train to reaching down to touch your toes. If you couldn't do it before, and you tried to really elongate your muscles, we have opposing muscles. Those muscles you're pulling on to try to train to touch your toes, reaching your hands down in front of you, bending at the hips, you're not going anywhere. Those muscles have to oppose the other muscles that are just allowing the motion of the pelvis or the hip structure. That's what I'm saying. Muscles pull down in the rear, on the hips, and up in the front. There's a posterior rotation of the pelvis. Muscles pull up in the rear of the pelvis and down in the front, and there's an anterior rotation of the pelvis. And there's just a neutral. If you try to stretch down to your toes, you're creating an imbalance in your body. You can't even stand normally anymore. There's no opinion to this that could ever possibly matter. It's impossible to train the human being, to get it to do anything. It just does what it does, and that's it. And that's good. It's designed by God. It works if it works. I mean, we've got our own individualistic situations. Maybe you've got something that's not allowing your body to work quite normal, if you will, you know, universal human design-wise. Normal is what I mean, but okay, there you go. But anytime we try to get our bodies to do something excessively fast running, excessively large muscles, excessively pulled on muscles, the muscles only pull together. Muscle fibers fire. It's an electrical system sent from the brain through the nervous system of the body out to the muscle fibers. They fire and get closer together. Muscles contract, they pull, they do not stretch. They have to pull. Opposing muscles on the other side of the function, pulling as well. There's just a neutral. There's no opinion to it, there's just a neutral. There's no possible opinion to it, there's just a neutral to the body. It's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything. No breakthrough, no new information, no credit that we could take under In the Image Clothing Company. This has been the same always. Since God, who had to first look like us to be able to design us in his image, this is always the case. With every human being to ever live, it's impossible to train the human body to get it to do anything. So anytime you think you trained something at one point, no, you didn't, because you can't do it anymore. If you train something, you should retain that. I mean, if you have a company and you train your employees to do something, they now know how to do that thing. And they just do it. Or at least they know how to, is the point. There are certain things we can teach our bodies. Like I was saying with riding a bike, you just need to teach your body how to work all together to balance and stabilize on a bike. But then it can do it. You can teach your body to play an instrument. And then the muscle memory, it'll remember how to do this motion, but only with things that the body can just do mechanically. Things that is natural for the body to begin with, that it just hasn't done yet, you can teach it how to do. But you can't train the body to do anything that it doesn't just do, that it's not able to just do. The body's not actually able to run as fast as you're trying to get it to, even if you get it to, if you can see what I mean. You're just forcing it to. Your body is not actually able to have that amount of muscle mass on it that you want to get it to, even if you get it to. The muscle mass just gets in the way of the body just working normally. The arms laying down at your own sides against your rib cage won't do that naturally if you've gained excessively large muscle mass. And it'll just actually damage your body in many different ways that we could really thoroughly discuss. Yeah. And you're just training, quote unquote, into an imbalance. Unless you're working your entire body completely as a whole, and every single muscle and muscle group in your body is being evenly, excessively worked, then you're just excessively creating an imbalance in musculature's function and strength in your body that's damaging your body. There's no opinion to this. You can gain strength. It's not only muscle size, because muscle size and muscle strength are actually two different things in the ways that they are. You can have relatively small muscles and be a lot stronger than somebody who has excessively large muscles. But you can also gain strength. You can really work your body, not just for muscle size, but for strength. But you're not training your body to be stronger. Here comes the wind again. You're just forcing your body to be stronger for a time. And then it goes away. Here comes the wind again. Once you stop forcing your body to be excessively strong, to be able to do the thing you're trying to get it to do, it just goes back to how strong it was before. There's no opinion to it. So, anyway, it's one of those things, it's like I don't even care to talk about it. It just is what it is. You'll never train the human being. And this video's title under In the Image Clothing Company's main site on the 14th of March, 2026. You didn't train to it. It's things like posture though too. You're never going to train your body to stand straighter up by trying to do motions with your shoulders or something. Nope, there's even mathematical opposing bends in the body from bottom to top. Earth's vertical gravity pull never changes. The winds do though. Probably better get out of here pretty soon, Dante and I. We get into chronic patterning as human beings. If the body's not allowed to work, it can't. And so if we're trying to work around the only thing physically placed on us, there's no sales pitch here, it's just the truth. I founded In The Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, because this is the truth of what's happening. Not just to sell clothing or to have products that we could sell. We're gonna just cut this and get out of here without even the explanation. We discuss where clothing sits on the body very clearly. If we're trying to work around clothing, oversized clothing, imbalances of any kind in clothing, and there are many in modern day with clothing designs shipped across the entire planet Earth in ways that never could have happened in the past before the technology to do that. We've got stretch in clothing. Stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way the muscles could ever work. So there's a damaged body that quick. Ropes introduced to the body, shoelaces or drawstrings tied one side over the other, twisting the entire body. The body gets damaged. No claim, no sales pitch, don't believe me. I'm in this for life though. You didn't train to it. Whatever you think you might have, no. There's only a normal to the human being in all aspects of anything and always. So thank you. We'll cut it there. There's 4 sides to In The Image Clothing Company. Check us out. Normally we discuss things more thorough, but it's not really needing to happen for this video's sake. For the context, it's here. Thank you and goodbye.